Wonder Woman, now the world is ready for you, and the wonders you can do. Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman.
Hello, and welcome to the Wonder Women series of the Maker Mom podcast. My name is Katie Freeman, and I am your host. This week's guest on the Wonder Women series is Skye of Sawdust and Glitter. Skye is a construction project manager by day and a DIY warrior by evening and weekend, doing customized projects for her clients. Before we hop on into the interview with Skye, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to the patrons over on Patreon. So thank you so much, Kevin, Lefty's Woodshop, Christy, Twisted Twine, Christina B, Jeremy Spees, Sammy, Go Sammy Lee, Lauren, Rasp File Designs, Sven, Dwarf Size Workshop, Rachel, Moody Makes, Bonnie, Tool Mom Bonnie, toolmomstore.com, Laura, Oakley Soap Company, Mary Lou, Made by Mary Lou, Amy, Bison Valley Carving, Dan and Kelly, Reclaim Living Store, Brandy, Studio Obey, Kathy, One Girl and Her Tools, Ellen, Little Bear Furniture, and Ethan Carter Designs. Thank you all so very much for your ongoing and continued support, helping me to produce 2 episodes a week, every week. And with no further ado, here is Skye.
Okay.
So I always start with having my guests introduce themselves. So when you're ready, I'll let you go ahead and do that.
Okay. So my name is Skye Alexis. I'm the creative director of Sawdust and Glitter. I am based out of Houston, Texas. I kind of got started into this about 5 years ago. So about like 2015, 2016, right after I graduated from college. Just kind of like looking on Pinterest, which Pinterest, I feel like, is my entire life. You know, whenever I need I'm like, okay, I just want to work on something, but I don't know what I want to work on. It's like Pinterest is always going to have you down a rabbit hole somewhere, and you're going to find not one, but probably maybe 10 projects. And you're like, where do I start? But I mainly started because I would click on Pinterest and I would find the link. It'll either just be like a photo or be a broken link. You couldn't actually purchase or find that person who does that service or that product. So I started kind of like dissecting things I saw on there, and I was like, this looks kind of easy. Like, I feel like maybe I could figure out how to do this, you know, YouTube University. Started making smaller projects on and off with like a 9 to 5, and just kind of like put it on the back burner. And then last year in March, actually got laid off. And so I had plenty of time to do nothing but Pinterest projects. So I bought a miter saw, I got like a circular saw and like a tape measure and some hammers and things. And then I just started like following some other do-it-yourself women. And here I am, like basically almost a year later, almost back to March again, and learned a lot in a year following this pages and YouTube, and it's been fun.
Awesome. Well, before we dive like super far into that, I want to ask, where'd you grow up and what were you interested in as a kid?
Okay, so I'm actually from Houston, so I have not moved. Used to travel a lot for work, pre-pandemic, of course, mostly like West Coast and like Mountain West area. But as a kid, I thought I was going to be an ice cream truck driver. So that obviously did not work out for me, which I guess is a good thing because we're not be making any money. But I used to play The Sims a lot as a kid, begged my mom to buy me The Sims. And she was like, no, you're going to be on the computer too much. Finally gets me The Sims. And then every Sunday morning, I would get the Sunday paper, flip past the comics. Like most kids looking at the comics, and I'll go straight to the home section. I rip out those pages and give my mom the rest of the newspaper. And then I had a journal, and I would start cutting out the floor plans I wanted to like build on The Sims, and I would glue them in a folder. And then I actually never really played with the family on The Sims. I was just building like the homes, and then I had an entire neighborhood built. I had to build a new neighborhood, and that's just what I did, was build homes on there. But definitely have always been like a creative kid. My mom actually let me kind of dive into that, letting me paint my like bedroom lime green one year, which was a mistake. That's the ugliest color you could ever do. Not one wall, all four walls were lime green. It was horrible, but she was like, whatever, you can do it, whatever you want inside your room. But then from there, I actually went to Prairie View A&M to study architecture. Realized that I kind of didn't really like the design part of it. And I wanted to be a little bit more hands-on. So instead of switching my major completely, I decided to double major in construction science. So I have a degree in both, but I actually currently work in construction project management now, but kind of helps me with the design side of it, having an architecture background as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, construction science. I mean, do you get to get into any of the hands-on aspect of that, or is it like you said, like more, is it more project management type?
More so this project management. So I work for a franchise for Planet Fitness for the Houston franchise, and I just oversee our general contractor who builds like all of our clubs for us in the Houston area.
Okay. What were you doing before the pandemic hit? Were you still like in the construction field?
Yes. So I've always been in the project management role, just for
Okay.
various companies, just kind of like super millennial, but hopping around. So looking for a place where I can like, grow and be that person like, yeah, I've been here 10, 15 years. And not like, oh yeah, 2 years. On to the next.
Did you get hands-on experience doing any of like in college and stuff with those degrees?
A little bit. So in architecture, we used to build our models for like our end of the year, of course, project. We had like one big project a year in design. Of course, there's like a lot smaller of a scale because you're building it at like a 16th of what, of course, the actual building that you've designed on AutoCAD. But then, I mean, it's not a structural type item because you could just glue it in the sand and it's going to hold itself up. But in the real world, you can't just glue a building together. So that's probably about as much as we got hands-on in college. And then just kind of like walking the job sites, which I'm on probably like every other day, just seeing like what the guys are doing, like, all different trades, and not even just carpentry. So like electricians, plumbers, just everyone, just kind of like watching and just kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like just taking it all in as like notes for later.
So before you started like, deciding to kind of like make stuff for you, did you have any experience with like power tools and stuff?
No, a drill and a hammer. That's about it. A tape measure. But definitely not any type of saws or anything like that.
Yeah. So like how'd you get, I guess, even to the point of like feeling like you know, like I got this, I can just go out, buy this equipment and go ahead and do this?
So actually, I think the first pages I followed was Anika's Do-It-Yourself Life. And she was like, anyone can do it. If I can do it, it's real simple. And I was like, okay, girl, like maybe. I really wanted to get into like reading books more, and I saw this hammock that she made, and so I was like, well, I want a hammock. So I was like, I was actually in Tulum a couple weeks before that, and I bought like just the hammock like bed part, and I was like, why did I buy this? I don't even have anything to like tie this to. I have no trees in my yard. And then I randomly that popped up on Instagram, and so I was like, oh, this looks easy. And then I saw the tool she used, and I was like, oh, like I need like actual tools to make this. So I was like, I have nothing better to do in my life right now. So I'm just gonna, just buy this power tool and to see what happens. Maybe I'll use it again for something else. And then now I use it weekly.
Yeah. I think that's funny that you bring that project up, because that's like the first thing I think of yours that popped up on like my Instagram, like that I found you through, was that hammock thing, and it's actually something I still need to build. We too have a hammock and nowhere to hang it.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that needs to get done. So what were some of the other, like you said you followed a few like other like women DIYers? So you mentioned Annika. Who else did you kind of follow at the start?
I'm trying to think. There's one I think it's called Smashing. I think her name's Alex. do it yourself. And then a lot of them, it's like their house address is like the name of their page. So I don't actually remember
Yeah.
what their house number is, but actually the ones I talk to like most frequently are also like women starting out like with me.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a little bit like, I mean, none of us really have like a full blown name just yet, but just kind of like bouncing ideas off each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now I'm building a board and batten wall, like literally as we're speaking, I'm like halfway through. Just kind of like asking them questions like, oh, you know, what size, you know, do you use 1x3s, 1x4s, and just they'll ask me questions. And some women who aren't even just like carpenters, but they'll like work on like string art items, which I also do. Just kind of like bouncing ideas off of like what brands do you use, what pen are you using, like wood like
Mm-hmm.
that, and this, you know, just lots of collaborations across the board.
Yeah. How did you come up with your name, your Sawdust and Glitter?
So I actually made it, I think like in 2014. I was like, I want to start a blog. I was like, I don't know what the blog's gonna be about. It's gonna be a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you know, kind of like I didn't think I was gonna be doing woodwork, so it actually fits perfectly. But 6 years ago, just in my mind, I was just like, okay, you know, I want to like, you know, do something that's hands-on, but also like that's easy, but kind of like more like tutorial, but it's something
Mm-hmm.
that the end product's like what's something everyone wants. Like it's beautiful, it's pretty, like things people want to buy. So I was like, there's a little bit this, a little bit that, and like Sawdust and Glitter was like, oh, it's kind of like, you know, encapsulates everything. And then now I actually am doing like Sawdust and Glitter.
So you you started a blog like 6 years ago. I mean, is that now current following your current projects?
No, I actually don't even remember what that website was or if it's even like active. I was kind of like just doing like just posting things at like, you know, Pinterest, just kind of like inspiration boards, things like that. If I did work on like a smaller project, I would like take photos and then instructions on how I just did different things. And then everyone was just like, can I just pay you to make this? And I was like, well, I mean, that's not what this is for. I was just kind of like showing you how I did it so that you can do it. And they're like, yeah, but I don't want to try to make it. I just want you to make it and I'll pay you. So then like I just stopped blogging because no one cared about what I was writing about. They just wanted to like buy it from me instead. So working a 9 to 5 and trying to also like do this is like really hard at the time. So I just kind of like, yeah, whatever. So I just stopped working on it. Maybe like a couple months out of the year, I would take it seriously and then also like kind of like put it on the back burner again. And then on my vision board for 2020, I was like, I'm just going to give myself a full year of like, you know, don't, you know, roller coaster this, like just do it full on as much as I can, of course, with like a full-time job. And then like, I guess God was laughing at me and then got laid off and he was like, all right, here you go. You have all the time in the world to do this now. So I was like, oh man, like I took joking, but I guess this is my job now since I don't have anything else to do. And then it's been, yeah, a full year actually. And it was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah. I mean, so is it like, has it grown into a full business or is it?
It has.
Yeah.
A full-time business, trying to manage it because I do have a full-time job now again. Been working there for about 7 months. So trying to just find time like on weeknights and figuring out which days of the week that I'm working and then like maybe just a full Saturday. So I can also like, you know, work out and just like do other things I enjoy doing.
Today's sponsor is Rasp and File Designs. Rasp and File was created to give new life to old things and create spaces that feel timeless, unique, and warm. Your home and business should be your sanctuary, a place of solace, and your personal piece of art. The owner and woodworker behind Rasp and File Designs is Lauren Matthews, and you can follow along and find out more information on Instagram. Just look up Rasp Filed Designs or on the internet at rfdesigns.squarespace.com. Yeah, so how'd you get it started into a business versus just like sharing about what you were working on?
Just people DMing me, honestly, just the power of Instagram. I know social media sometimes has like a bad rep, but like the power of hashtags and your friends and family, like just like reposting and resharing things that you've done. And now like I talk to people like all over the world. I mean, we've connected now too, like probably from hashtags. So people I would have never probably met in life naturally, just walking like, HEB or something.
Mm-hmm.
But like just meeting a lot of people from there. And then people just DMing me, like asking like, wow, that's really cool. Like I would love to have this. Are you selling it? And I was like, well, this is one of a kind, but I can like recreate it for you. I'll email you and we can talk logistics and,
Mm-hmm.
scope of work, like stuff like that. And then just them reposting honestly was like the biggest help to get me to starting as like a official business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're making pieces for other people, or like, is your business more about creating content around what you're doing, or is it more about selling pieces that you design and make?
When I originally started in March, it was going to be just content like about what I was doing because I was posting on my personal page. And then I
Mm-hmm.
took a poll with my friends and I was like, hey, like, am I being annoying by posting my projects on here? I was like, hey, yes, do you think I should start like a business page or like, no, just like put it on here still? And everyone was like, no, like we want to see like a page of just like what you're working on. So I made a new page and that's Sawdust and Glitter. And then from there, people start saying, hey, can I order this? Things like that. So I actually don't really get to work on stuff for myself anymore because I want to make sure I take care of my clients. But so my board and batten wall today is actually for myself, which I've been thinking about for like 6 months. I'm like, eventually we'll get to it. I'll just throw myself in my project queue. And when I take care of everyone, then I'll be able to like do a couple things myself and then get back to my clients again.
Mm-hmm. What's it been like selling your own creations?
It's definitely trying to think of the word I want to use. I guess like fulfilling in a sense. 'Cause I mean, a lot of the things you could go to like World Market or like Target and buy, but it's nice to be able to like help someone with like a custom item because not every home is the same. They might see a credenza that they like, but maybe it's too long or it's too short for them. So being able to like kind of recreate something from like a baseline that fits their house perfectly, I think that's really cool to like, help those people out and also help myself out because there's a lot of things I want to do as well that I'm like, okay, this wall is bare, I want to do this, but I don't want to like buy a bookshelf
Mm-hmm.
from Target because I'm gonna have to buy a whole bunch of them when I could build it for cheaper and have it perfectly fit into my space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what type of pieces do you feel like you do the most often?
Most often, as of late, getting a lot of like closet install requests.
Mm-hmm.
The board and batten wall, all I did was post like on Wednesday that I was gonna do one, and I had like 20 requests. Like, I want a board and batten wall, and I'm like, oh, okay, like let me get through this one first to make sure I, knock out all the kinks and everything, so I can like offer this as a full service.
Mm-hmm.
So I went for making more like Jenga sets and like the smaller like metal racks. I'm in a run group, so a lot of my friends want racks to hang their medals on for my races. Just small oddball things, string art, just almost anything, a lot of doormats, a lot of stovetop covers. So things that aren't really like too, I guess like complex. And then
Mm-hmm.
now I'm getting, for the past month and a half, I've been getting into more like structurally sound type things that, like, finding studs and making sure like, is this bench going to hold itself up? Is this shelf
Mm-hmm.
going to stay on the wall, not rip off the next day? So I like the challenge of it. And I think it was a good progression from starting with like just Jenga sets, which were like, you can't really mess that up.
Mm-hmm.
So like now I'm like, okay, I'm putting holes in people's walls. Like I need to make sure like I'm doing this right. Things are straight. Because if not, things are gonna be rolling off shelves and the doors aren't gonna close, and just finding out, how all that kind of works.
Yeah, so that's definitely like sounds like getting more into kind of like the carpentry
Mm-hmm.
aspect of it. Um does it feel like does it just feel like a natural fit, especially like getting, did you say construction science in college? I
Yeah.
mean, does it feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's kind of like, yeah, this makes total sense?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I took a lot of geometry classes and trig. So I mean, thought I would never really use trig. I was like, why am I in this class? This is a waste of my time. And now here I am, like, okay, the cosine of this, trying to figure out like degrees and angles and fractions, and like I think having that background definitely helped me. I keep telling my friends like this is something that everybody could do. If I can do it, like everyone can do it. I'm just watching YouTube videos honestly, and then kind of putting my own spin on things. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I could, change it this and then make it like this to make it like fit whoever's like custom need that they are desiring. So I mean, I think it was easier for me. Like I feel like I'm less intimidated by it because I have like that background. But a lot of these women I follow on Instagram, like they're like in random professions, and then they also were able to figure it out. So I don't think I think it was easier for me to transition into it, but it's not impossible for anybody to do.
Yeah. Do you see, I mean, essentially though, like you're spending a day job managing somebody else's construction projects. And you're spending nights and weekends like managing your own construction projects for clients. So do you see turning it into like a full-time gig for yourself?
For that, I would definitely have to like redo my entire business plan. The amount of orders I have now, I could ultimately change it into a full-time job, and I would unfortunately have to quit my other job, which I really, really like my job, so I don't want to have it come down to that. But I mean, if it, came to that, I would definitely consider it. For that to actually happen, I would definitely need like a storefront or like a wood shop. Well, I have my garage wood shop, but like a full-on shop, and I would definitely have to hire help to match the order of demands I have for orders. I'm not there yet to be able to financially pay someone else, and of course like figure out like benefits for it to be like a true job,
right?
Insurance, because I mean we are working with power tools, that I would all have to be worked into like a business plan, because I'm definitely like a few years out from that being manifested.
But I guess
to think about.
Is it a goal, or right now no, it's just
right now no, it's more it was just a hobby a year ago, and now it's kind of like a full business. I'm still trying to like absorb how that's like in my life now. So it's the time I feel like if I did like a full-time job, it would literally be a full-time job and I may not enjoy it anymore. So now it's just kind of like a hobby that actually, and of course I make money from it, so a hobby that's kind of like part-time job in a sense. And then I just have a separate bank account, and I don't know what I'm doing with this money besides buying more tools right now. An LLC, trademarking, just kind of like a full business, with all that. But other than that, it's just like in a bank account, just sitting there.
How do you figure out pricing for your projects?
So I add up all the material costs, and then I just charge a percentage on top of that. Is how I do pricing. Unless it's something that I know is going to be very like labor intensive, then I will like kind of tweak the numbers a little bit to make sure that I'm like making a profit and making a certain amount per hour.
How does it feel to you, I guess, to set your own pricing?
Sometimes I know it's just like I got to take like out like the emotions of it because it is a business, but I feel sometimes I'm like, what did I pay for this? Always would ask myself. I mean, it truly is like I give fair pricing. So like when I tell someone the price, and like they'll either say okay, thank you, or they'll pay the invoice immediately, or the invoice sits. Just different scenarios, or like they ask if they can pay like installments. I work with people on that, but I always ask myself like, for the product that I'm getting, if I was a person like buying this, would I be comfortable paying this price? And usually it's yes, because I'm like, you're getting a custom piece. Like it's not cheap, for like the wood and everything. So it's, I don't know. I feel like it's fair. I don't know. Once I ask myself that question, I tell myself that yes, I'd pay for this. I feel pretty good about my pricing.
Do you ever undervalue yourself?
Yes. I made lots of mistakes last year. There's a few projects. One that comes to mind is the Connect 4 I made that I spent money on it. Didn't make anything off of that. So I get one of my best friends, she kind of like scolds me a little bit, and she's like, "You're trying to do too much. You want to do like a little bit of everything." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's the point. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Like, I don't want to do just, I don't want to do closets or I want to do Jenga sets. Like, I want to be like an all around like carpenter." And so I want to be able to like do everything, you know, kind of figure out how like it works, and like, you know, for the most part, as long as it's not like metal or glass involved, I can probably end up find a way to build it. But sometimes because of that, I end up losing money because, or not making anything at all, because if it's the first time I've tried something, I kind of like try to learn from other people's mistakes on YouTube, which a lot of people don't post about the mistakes they make. They only post like, this project was perfect,
Right,
it went smoothly, and this is material cost is only $150, and this is what I did. And then like you start adding up material, and you're like, it's not actually what you said it was going to be, or you forgot to, you know, say you had to buy this tool or things like that. You know, just making mistakes, having to like, you know, go back to Home Depot and like rebuy a piece of wood because you made a too short of a cut and it's not gonna like work out. So definitely I sometimes lose money or break even on new projects, just not fully understanding the scope of work. But on new projects, I try to like build in like a buffer. Of course, not to like get over on my clients, but like if not unforeseen conditions, like things that happen, I'm just like, okay, I need to try to cover myself. But definitely learning as I go. Now, like starting off in 2022 or 2021, whatever year we're in, definitely I've done 4 or 5 projects this year, and definitely made a profit in all those projects already. So a lot better with pricing now.
Hey friends, I wanted to tell you about an awesome brand I discovered that you might love as well. Have you ever spent a ton of money on clothing that was supposed to be high performance, only for it to end up at the back of your closet because it just doesn't fit right? I personally hate when this happens. I get excited about a new pair of work boots, and then I'm disappointed to find out they just weren't designed for me. Discovering Athena Outfitters was a game changer for me. Athena Outfitters is a quality workwear brand for hardworking women. All of their items are handpicked to meet the needs of women in the trades, not just sized down versions of items designed for men. They've got great workwear essentials like comfortable, soft, and safety toe boots, and options for my active lifestyle when I'm off the clock as well. Shopping with Athena Outfitters saves me time and energy because I always know I'm getting a high quality product that also looks and feels great. Next time you're looking for gear with grit, check out AthenaOutfitters.com. That is ATHENA Outfitters.com, and use special code at checkout MM15 to get a 15% discount because you listen to the Maker Mom podcast. Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. I think a lot of us do that if it's something we've never done before. It's like, we don't feel confident in charging maybe full price or whatever for that.
Correct.
Because part of it is like, it's a learning opportunity is almost what we're getting paid in for that.
Correct.
For that project. So when you were like from in school and then into like the work world, are there many other women in the industry?
On the project manager side, there were my first company. She's actually still my mentor. There were a few women there and also like in executive roles, but on the actual like job site, it's a sprinkle every now and then. Usually the cleaners at the end of the project, final clean, construction clean type of job roles like that. But I have seen a lot of women painters, and recently I've seen a couple women electricians. But other than that, I haven't seen like any like plumbers or things like that. But it's definitely a hit or miss. It's depending on which job site I'm on. It's like 1 or 2, maybe. So
1 second. What's I'm busy on call.
After your call, can I want to put on this because we haven't put on this for a while, and you're supposed to put on top of the nail polish.
Yeah. Can Mama help you with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least she asked.
Yes.
It could have been everywhere.
Yes. Okay, so you've seen a little bit more women
Mhm.
out in the field. What about like, I mean, especially with some of the carpentry work you're kind of been getting into, do you
Mhm.
feel like you see a lot of representation of other women doing that work? Besides, I mean, I know there's some accounts you follow on Instagram, that are
Uh-huh.
women DIYers, but do you feel, I guess, like that there are a lot of women out there doing it?
Not on the job sites that I work on, no. The only type of carpentry we have is like a check-in desk that we build. That millwork's like the only millwork we have like an entire project. It's pretty much an open box with like rubber flooring and wallpaper because it is a gym. So I mean, everything else is fitness equipment and everything. The lockers come like already pre-made, things like that. So they build like a bench in front of the lockers. But other than that, that's like the only millwork we have. But
Mm-hmm.
it's all a crew of men doing that.
Mm-hmm. I guess, I mean, though, like with your own sawdust and glitter, do you feel like, you're unique, I guess, building these things in people's homes for them?
In the Houston area, I would say yes. But I mean, Instagram, there's like you said,
Right.
there's so many accounts. I mean, I see that a lot of people are doing it and being successful at it. A lot of women. I think that's really awesome. It's kind of like, I don't like just watching what other women are doing as well. Like,
Right.
but I have a friend here in Houston. She's actually an interior designer. She went to school for interior design. She took a couple of furniture making classes, and so we kind of vary. We do the same projects. We kind of vary in the sense that she has more of like a furniture background, and she also does upholstery, so she can like sew and do things like that. Where I don't want to get into sewing or doing anything like that, and like tufting, seats and
Right.
headboards, and I don't want to have any type of that. But she's good in the sense where people have like a old piece like antique furniture that's passed down there in their family, and like maybe it just needs to be reupholstered, and she's able to like know where to like rip the seams at and like rebuild it back. And as for me, I would just be like, look, I have to start from scratch on this because I don't want to
Right.
mess up an antique, and this is like
Mhm.
it's been in your family. I will be a little bit too nervous about that. So as far as like building from scratch, we can both do, but she's really good at refinishing old pieces of like furniture and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Is this someone you've had as a friend for a while, or someone you've met through kind of the work you've been doing?
I've known her for about 3 or 4 years now, just from like the gym and like just friend groups that we have in common. And I actually didn't even know, I think for like the first year or two that I knew her, that she also did the same thing. And then I was just kind of like, just more so creative because I just started about a year ago, but just kind of like building smaller things and starting with like string art. And then just now, like a year ago, getting into like woodwork, just bouncing ideas off of her and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of nice that you get to have a in real life friend to talk with about this stuff, because I know quite a few women that I've had on the podcast, like they don't have anybody in their like friend circle or even like close community that they can geek out about over tools or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Is there a larger, do you feel like there's a big woodworking community there in Houston?
I would say in Texas more so than Houston. There's a few other accounts that I follow that are kind of like more like on a personal level. Most of them are like in Dallas, though, a mix of women and men, though, of course. But Houston wise, maybe I just haven't come across them, but people that I would say the more personal level, because I am friends with like maybe like their sister or someone, so I may not know them directly, but it's more of like that personal connection than just like a random person from like a hashtag.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Houston. It might have been Austin. was chatting with someone the other day who's, I think she's in Austin, um, about there being quite a few woodworking programs
Hmm.
in Texas and in the area. Do you see yourself like going back to school at all into into more, I guess, woodworking skill uh, type classes?
I would definitely take a like a short seminar type class, but I wouldn't want to go fully like back into like full-time school or like
Mm-hmm.
part-time school. It'd be like something that's more like we're doing instructions on this weekend, how to whatever the
Right.
topic is, and just go for like the one weekend and that's it.
Mm-hmm. What type of skills are you hoping to start learning how to do?
I want to get more into probably more closets. So like what I did was a pretty simple closet install. But I do like the closets that have like the built-in like drawers, things
Mm-hmm.
like that. I heard drawers are really hard to do. So that'll probably be like one of my next things to master is just make sure everything's really flush with that and like slides smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
So like more like the like IKEA type closets you see where it has like the open shelving and underneath it is drawers and then
Yeah.
it's like racks across some more complex closets like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you said you have a garage shop space.
Yes, I do.
So what kind of tools do you have in there that fill out your space?
I have, of course, the miter saw, circular saw, couple drills, my nail gun, which I think is like my favorite tool ever. Use it like every week, just like the miter saw, a jigsaw. I just bought a adhesive gun today, which I did not even know that they made like automatic ones. I knew, of course, they had
Mm-hmm.
like the metal ones. So like I've been using that all morning. It's been like a lifesaver. Um, then like a shop vac and just things like that. I think that's pretty much it.
Do you have anything like at the top of your list of what you want to buy next as far as tools?
Oh, I just bought a table saw. I have not used it yet. Still like in the box. I forgot about that. So that was my like Christmas present, but I haven't actually needed it, which I think is really funny because all last year I'm like, man, like I need to rip this board down like on my miter saw, I'll cut it halfway and then like I'll rotate it and cut it
Yeah.
the other half. And then there's still like a little piece in there, and then I take
Mm-hmm.
my handsaw and just like exhaust myself till like I get the cut through. It's not even, then I'm sanding it, trying to
Uh-huh.
smooth it out. So and I have not even needed it yet this year. So I'm like, man, like I got all these Home Depot gift cards. I'm like, yes, getting a table saw finally. I can't wait to like rip boards down. And then it's been 2 months and I'm like, I haven't even had a project where I needed this now. And it's still in the box. But that was like my big purchase I was excited for.
Mm-hmm.
Next I probably need like, I'm trying to think. Probably just another type of saw. I'm not really sure yet, but there's so many different types of them and they all do different things, which is crazy. But
Yeah.
like when those Dremels, like the small little ones,
Yeah.
like I think I'll probably buy like one of those next.
Nice. Hi, makers. Today's episode is brought to you by toolmomstore.com. Tool Mom and Company is for all ages, genders. They have what you need for your one-stop tool-related merchandise of gifts and clothing. The products are fun, fashionable, one of a kind. In fact, I have two of the mugs. One has a circular saw with flames coming off of it and says "Go Girl." Another one has the definition of a tool chick. Both of them are super awesome, and I have coffee out of them almost every morning. So check out toolmomstore.com or find them on Instagram at toolmombonnie. You can receive an extra 20% off at checkout by using the code MAKERMOM. What kind of wood do you typically work with for your projects?
I use a lot of the common boards from Home Depot for items that need to have like a finished surface, of course. And if not, then I just get like the regular, like unfinished, unsanded ones. They're sometimes in really bad shape, but sometimes if you go like early enough in the morning to Home Depot, they have like the bounded ones that like just came in and they're all 90 degrees and they're straight and they're not curved and doing like weird things and splintered. And
Yep.
So
yeah, do you struggle with that? Have you had any projects like warp on you after you've completed them?
no, I'm usually in the store for a while, like looking at things and like putting it on the ground and kind of like lining it up and looking, and I rotate it this way, just to make sure everything's, if I'm going to pay for it full price, I want to make sure like I'm getting like the best out of the lumber they have there. And it's also less work when you get it home. You don't have to try to like fill it in and like caulk like the backside of it because it's not straight. And it just makes a lot more work, and you pay the same amount for if you got a warped one or not.
Yeah, I know. The thing I always struggle with is like if you buy it, like, banded off and you get it before it's warped, it's usually because it's still like sopping wet, and then it's like you got to get it cut and used pretty much like nailed in place that day. Otherwise, the more it dries, it's going to end up warping on you. Yeah, I wish there was just better options for construction lumber, because
yes.
Because nobody enjoys having to deal with warped wood.
No.
No. Do you see yourself getting into working with hardwoods at all?
A couple people asked about cutting boards, and if so, then I would need hardwood for that. But at the moment, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. Just not like, it's not something you're interested in, or I guess, yeah. Why no hardwoods?
So most of the projects I've been asked about, I didn't need it at the moment. Besides the 2 cutting boards I've been asked about, that would be the first time I would need hardwood. It also comes with like learning how to use a router, things like that. So like, for the edges. I'm not sure. I guess that'd be another tool I need to start looking into, like kind of like buying to start rounding off edges.
Okay. Where do you hope like to see your, besides like getting into closets and stuff, is there more projects like around the house for you that you're hoping to get to like this year?
Yes. So it has nothing to do with like woodworking, but I want to redo my backyard. One of like my first Instagram posts, when I moved into this house, it's a brand new house, so it was just standing in the backyard. And I thought it would be a great idea at the time to zero-scape it. So like I treated the weeds, and then I put like a weed tarp down, and I like filled it with gravel, one giant flower bed in the back, and then like a fire pit, cactus or cacti, and basically like Phoenix, Arizona type vibes. And it was really cute for like the first year and a half. And then now I cannot control the weeds. And I think it's because like with my friends and stuff walking across it, maybe the rocks put holes in the weed tarp, and now like
they're just everywhere.
It's a jungle. It's a mess. I was gonna like try to do it like in January, but it's not grass growing season, so I said I would wait till like March when the grass will stick better then, and I'm gonna basically redo the entire backyard. Probably do it myself if I have time. I'm also getting like a dog in the summer, so I was like, this probably he wouldn't like rocks, so I'm gonna get some grass and get rid of the cacti and things like that. So that would be like my biggest project for myself. Besides this board and bathroom wall today that I'm putting in my bedroom. But other than that, I probably would do other projects, but of course it's like a Pinterest rabbit hole thing. That I would find a project that I didn't really officially need in the beginning, and then now I'm like, I kind of like that. Maybe like an accent wall for my like living room with the TV, some shelves or something, things like that.
Has there ever been a project that you like turned down from a client?
A few, some based on just it not being wood. If they need like metal work done, I was just like, I don't weld or do anything like that, or glass work. Some projects I've had to turn down just because of logistics. I make jokes on Instagram that my Mazda is a truck, and it can only carry 8-foot long pieces of lumber. And then if I turn it at an angle, the width can be up to 18 inches, I believe, but I can only fit like 2 pieces in. So I have it down to like a T of what will fit in my car. There's been people who've asked for like decks and things like that, which I'm sure I could figure out how to do it. But the problem is getting long enough pieces of lumber to them. And like, if it's something I have to make like 20 trips to the store, it's kind of like, do I rent a truck? And then I have to increase like the price of it because like I don't have a truck and things like that. And I had to turn down those projects because the logistics wise, it would have been too much to try to handle.
What's your, like, it sounds like you pretty much get asked to do anything and everything, then regardless of what your past projects have been.
Yeah. I've been getting some random requests. Some asked me if I could make a banner, and I was like, this is not Vistaprint. Like, this is not what I do remotely close. Like, just one-stop shop, but it's not one-stop shop. It's few stop shop. So
yeah, what's your
random things?
What's your feelings about that? Like, I mean, I know it's kind of one of those things, right? If somebody learns that you're quote unquote handy, then it's like, well, they just like ask you what seems to be the most random things ever.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, tell the truth. Does it annoy you at all when you get some of those requests?
Not annoyed. I try to be respectful since it is a business. It's not my personal page. I can't, I guess, speak how I would be like, now, did you see anywhere on my page that I offer this service? Like, of course you can't say that. I'm just like, thank you for considering me for this project. Unfortunately, I don't have the skill set or the means to, work on this for you. But if I do know someone who can do it, I will always share that page or that person's website and be like, unfortunately, I can't do it, but this person, this is their specialty. They do this all the time. I would advise you to contact them and just share the wealth with, other people who I personally know or don't know. Just send them their way.
Right. Do you ever turn down a project just because you don't want to do it? Not that you can't do it?
As of lately, just the amount of projects I have, it's not necessarily a no, it's just a not right now for them. So I haven't turned down some just because I didn't want to. It's just a little bit over loaded right now. So it's just like maybe closer to like, the summer months, I can maybe possibly do this for you. And I was like, just keep checking back on my Instagram. I'll post when I have openings, or on my website, you can order. I have like a custom listing on there, and they can just check out with that. And then they can like submit what the items they're trying to get created by then that way.
Does that require, like, do they put like a down payment or whatever down with that custom purchase?
So it's a $15 design fee, and it goes towards the project total. So it's not really to secure their spot, but it's more so just, make sure they're like serious about purchasing. And then like the $15 is just like, kind of like before I actually start designing anything, it's more so like, okay, what exactly are you looking for? What's the timeline, colors, and then like I'll come stop by if it's something I need like a home consultation for. I'll stop by and like take my measurements, and then like just put the legwork in to price everything, and then put like my markup on it, of course, and then give them that price.
Yeah, I think that's super smart to do something where, like you said, to make sure they're serious, right? So you don't spend a bunch of time like talking back and forth with them, and then they're like,
and then the
never mind.
Invoice just sits there unpaid, and I'm just like, okay, well, I guess they weren't serious about it. I mean, $15 isn't a lot, so I feel like it's people are willing to pay. And if I had asked for something like $50, people are like, whoa, I haven't even seen what I'm getting yet. Like, what if I don't like it? The design you send. So I feel like 15 like helps me and them. It's not too much or too little.
So what happens if like in your talk back and forth, like it looks like it's not going to work out? Like, is that $15 just like then the fee for like you taking time to work on designs and stuff?
Correct.
Okay.
It's not refundable.
Not refundable, yeah.
Yes.
That's good. Don't want to have to give that back.
Correct. That's why I also made it low, so it wasn't like people didn't feel like the risk of losing money if they changed their mind. It's what, a lunch?
Yeah, exactly. What would be your advice to any other, woman who is going down that Pinterest rabbit hole, thinks maybe they want to get started with something like this?
I would say definitely just, go for it. I mean, what's to lose? I mean, of course the tools are expensive, but if you can maybe like find them like resell, things like that, or Facebook Marketplace, a lot of people are selling like tools. There's really nothing to lose. I mean, it's fun. It's like, you get to do stuff for yourself on your own time. You feel like you're on HGTV, start your own episode. It's like on today's episode of, but it's just a lot of fun. So my only advice would be like just to do it, because like there's literally nothing to lose. And if you mess something up, I mean, there's always someone on Thumbtack or someone at Home Depot you can hire, and they will help you fix it. You put a hole in the wall or do something crazy.
Right.
There's no way like literally to mess up. It's fun. Like, it's a hobby, it's a pastime. And if you become good at it, you can like, start making money and, use that if you want to like put it into like your business, or if you want to, pocket that money and take trips, if you use that to pay for like your travel, things like that. Like there's no like, there's no downside of this. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, Skye, we're at the end of our time together, so I want to give you a chance to let people know how they can find you and follow along with you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm on Instagram at sawdust_and glitter. And my website is sawdust-glitter.com. .net. I'm pretty sure it's .net. I'm thinking like it pops up so quickly on my phone and like my computer. I'm like, is it .com or .net? Because I just put SA and then it pops up and I hit enter. I'm pretty sure it's .net. .net. Yeah.
Well, I will definitely like verify when I put the links in the episode notes. So thanks so much for chatting with me today.
No problem. Thanks for having me. I know we like went back and forth for months of what weekend worked for both of us.
I know. All right. Again, that was Skye of Sawdust and Glitter, and I will include the links on how you can follow along with her in the description for today's episode. So you can check that out in your favorite podcast app, or if you're watching this on YouTube, check it out in the description down below. If you enjoyed today's interview or any of the past interviews, please make sure you hit that subscribe, like, and comment button. That helps get the word out about the podcast. Feel free to share about it with one of your friends as well, or anybody else you know who might be into DIY or making of any kind. Go check us out on Patreon. That's patreon.com/MakerMomPodcast. And you can check out all kinds of different tier levels over there. Different merch comes with it. You got coffee mugs and t-shirts and stickers, or all of the above, depending on which tier you choose. And no matter what you choose over there, you get access to additional content such as live interviews, which means you'll get a link to the Zoom. You can hop on while I do the interview and then get a chance to ask your very own questions at the end of our maker. When I'm not making podcasts, you can find me designing and making furniture and other home decor at freemanfurnishings.com or at Freeman Furnishings across all the social media like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest. Did I say LinkedIn? I think I said LinkedIn. I'm active daily on Instagram and TikToks. That's where you can see kind of the up to the moment project that I'm working on, or whatever crazy shop dance I have going on at the time. It's Wednesday. We're halfway through our week, and I'm hoping you are sticking with it, running through. We're on spring break right now, so spending extra time with the kiddos, having a blast. And I will see you all on Friday.